Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura. I'm a self-taught makeup enthusiast, alternative fashion enthusiast, and just all-around creative. Today I'm going to be I've been trying something different with my channel recently where I'll take a topic and I'll talk about it while doing my makeup. Sometimes it's scripted, sometimes it's off the cuff, sometimes it's in between. Today I'll just be talking like off the cuff, just like from the heart, talking about losing your job, talking about just like career goals and development, the confidence dip that you can get when you're let go from your job, all while creating the look that you see on my face. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. Grab a drink, I don't know, get cozy, and let's just jump right in. Oh, and ignore the noise in the background. It is like 30 degrees Celsius in my apartment, which, if my math is correct offhand, I think that's about 90 some odd Fahrenheit. So it's pretty hot in here. So we've got all our windows open, or most of our windows open, and I have neighbors who love to race their motorcycles and their augmented cars around, so it might get a little loud, but hopefully not. I don't often repeat makeup looks that I do for social media on here. I don't know why. I just have a tendency to like try and do something different every time. But today I'm actually going to film a look that I did for a couple videos I posted on TikTok, and by the time this goes up, hopefully some videos on Instagram as well. I really love the way that this makeup look turned out, and I thought I had filmed the process, but apparently I did not. So I'm going to film that now, and we're just going to talk about stuff, life, my life, just things I'm struggling with, and I'm going to do a fun makeup look to try and make myself feel better about it. Let's jump in. I should probably wash my face first. I'm filming this at like almost 10 p.m. right now. It's like 10 to 10. I've been out all day. It was like a hot day outside. I was running around at the park with my kid and my nephew. So yeah, I'm gonna wash the sunscreen off my face. So let's do that. So I really hate that I didn't write down like any of the products I used. I didn't film my process because this turned out to be one of my favorite makeup looks, and I don't remember exactly what I used, but hopefully we'll get close. So I'm just gonna put on a little bit of moisturizer because I just washed my face. Everything is now clean, and I just need a little bit of moisturization because we're gonna be putting on like a full beat. These days, actually, now that I'm in my 30s, I feel like I can't put on, even when I wear full coverage foundation, I can't actually layer it on that thick. Even if I do like full skincare prep and everything, it just doesn't quite sit right on my face anymore. So I do a bit of a modified process, which I guess I can show you. So I'm just gonna give that a second to sink in, and while I get my primer ready, I'm just gonna use the Urban Decay All Nighter primer. I don't even know if they make this anymore, but it's like kind of a more like liquidy primer rather than like sort of a gel, very silicone-y one. I think what I'm gonna do is actually use both. I'm gonna use a bit of this and a bit of this NYX Photo Loving primer, just kind of strategically, and hope that that doesn't mess up my foundation. Okay, well anyways, let's just jump into the topic for today, which is I was fired from my job just under a month ago, about 3 weeks ago or so. Literally, we were working remotely for August. It was great. I was working hybrid, so twice a week in office and the rest of the time at home. I have a long commute, so it was just hard on in-office days, and then my husband would have to do like after school pickup and dinner time with our daughter, and like she's amazing, she's wonderful, but it's just like it's a lot. So like I would come home, she'd be having dinner, and then we'd do bedtime together, but I'd just kind of be wiped from commuting and stuff. So it was just hard on those days, and I'd have to wake up super early to get there, blah blah blah. Anyway, so we were remote August, so that was nice. I was like actually awake, felt like I could kind of like be a bit more present and just have more energy for things. And then it was a Labor Day long weekend, and then I came back and I had a meeting with my boss's boss, or like my manager's boss. You know what? I'm gonna do a little bit of this Prism Effects Danessa Myrix. It's kind of like a priming lotion, but I need a little bit of a glow. It's going to be a pretty matte look, but like a little bit of a glow coming through. Anyways, so I had this meeting with my boss's boss. Didn't think anything of it. We were having kind of like regular monthly-ish one-on-ones for a couple months. She rescheduled it and it like conflicted with another meeting that I had. So I thought that was like a little weird, but like I was like, that meeting's optional. It's fine. Like obviously this meeting with my boss's boss takes priority. So like it probably won't run the whole time. It'll be fine. Then I can just join the other meeting late. Anyway, so I joined the meeting and I'm like, hi, like very friendly and happy and like, I don't know, because we were supposed to go back in office like that week, even though I was like dreading going back to the office for, I don't know, a few reasons. I'm going to use the Urban Decay All-Nighter foundation, which actually doesn't exist anymore. I need to find a substitute for this when I run out, because this is like one of the nicest foundations I've tried. And I'm going to mix some of this e.l.f. liquid highlighter, which also I'm not sure if they still make anymore. But I do this a lot when like I want to sheer out a more full coverage matte foundation and I want to give it like kind of a satiny glow. I'll just take like a liquid highlighter, just kind of mix it in a little bit. And then also I don't actually use a ton of the foundation. I just kind of like dab it in, and because it's such a thick formula, before it fully dries down, I just kind of like rub it in with my fingers. And because of like the oil from my fingers and everything, I know it's like not the most sanitary thing to do, but it actually blends it a lot nicer, I find, than a brush or a sponge. So I have this meeting with my boss's boss, who like I've been, I've gotten along with well. I didn't have like much to deal with her like on a day-to-day basis, but like, always friendly when we'd like run into each other at the office. So I'm like, hi, like, how are you doing? Blah, 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 like pleasantries. And, how are you? Good, how are you? And then immediately I could tell, like, because her body language was like, I mean, this was like over video, but still, her body language was just kind of like slumped and tired, which I figured it was just like right after a long weekend. She was like tired, like, catching up on emails because she had been away. So I just figured it's like, oh, okay, back from a long weekend, like start of the week, that sort of thing. And then she's like, and then launches into like a script, and I'm like, fuck. And then as like 3 seconds into her script, HR joins, and I'm like, fuck, I know where this is going. I don't even remember exactly what she said, but she was like, unfortunately, we're gonna have to like terminate your position, blah, blah, blah. And I was like sitting there like kind of frozen through it, because like, okay, I don't know if the glow is coming through on camera because these lights are washing me out, but anyways, in person there is quite a bit of a glow. So whatever, she launches into this whole thing about like it's not performance based, it was just, they had to make a hard decision because we were basically a network of companies. We worked out of our parent company's office, so we would actually see like people from our sort of sister companies. I'm like intentionally being vague to like, I don't know, not dox myself for the industry that I'm in, I guess. Not like it's like a secret, but whatever. Anyways, so she was like, yeah, we tried to see if we could like find a position for you at like one of our sister companies, and there wasn't like anything available. I'm thinking like, I mean, that's nice. Like, look, I really liked working for this company. My actual job title was something that I have a lot of experience in. It isn't really where I want to like take my career forever, but I thought it could kind of be a stepping stone to where I want to take my career, if that makes sense. I guess I can be a little bit less vague. So I'm a graphic designer and I was working in advertising at this agency. And I've done a mix in my career of agency work and sort of in-house corporate. Much prefer agency. I think it's It's a lot more fast-paced. The work is more varied. Personally, I think that's, I don't know, more interesting. You can work on different client accounts. Like, it's just fun. I like it. I really enjoy it, and I love what I do. The job I was doing is like, still within design. It's just like there's not a whole lot of room to advance in your career. It's kind of a more like specialized area, I guess. I wanted to like eventually move up. And when I was interviewing for this job, like whatever, I just got like good vibes from everyone. So the way that like the agency sort of brands themselves and doing a bit of research on the company, like it just seemed like a good place to work and more importantly to learn. Like a big thing that they stressed in kind of all my interviews that I had with them, I had 3 rounds of interviews, that like it's a place to learn. Like they really want people to grow and to learn and to like have career development, like lots of mentorship opportunities. Like I was like, this is exactly what I've been looking for in my career and like what I ask for in like every place that I work at. Like I want mentorship opportunities. I want to like grow. I don't like being complacent in my skill set. Like if there are, I don't know, like workshops or stuff like in or out of work that I can like attend, or I don't know, extra like courses that I can take to like improve my skills, or even just like shadowing other designers and like learning from them. Like those are the things that I look for in a workplace. They actually, I think, mentioned that to me, that like that's a thing that they like pride themselves on. So I was like, oh my God, this is like a perfect fit. Like I really want to work here. They offered me the job. I was thrilled. Again, the title and the day-to-day responsibilities of my particular job weren't exactly what I wanted to do, but I was like, you know what, this is a really great place to work and hopefully grow, so I'm gonna accept it. And like I was really happy there. Like everyone was really nice. Because it like started as a small agency and sort of started to grow recently, like there were some like cliques or cliques, as Americans say. It wasn't like you can't sit with us, but it was like there were friend groups, I guess. It felt like kind of like high school, where like everyone had their friend group that they like sat with at lunch, and it was like a little hard to break in, but like in the grand scheme of things, like really not a big deal. I was like, you know what, I can take, like I don't need to be friends with my coworkers. It's nice when you can, but like I don't need to. So like as long as I'm treated well as an employee and like doing a good job at work and like being recognized for doing a good job and like, things like that, then like it's fine. I'm just gonna use this shade. I can barely see it against my skin. It's Nars Douceur. I use it as sort of a hybrid like blush contour type thing when I want to do kind of more like goth leaning looks. This is what I use, and it sort of does, it's like a 2-in-1 sort of thing. So what was I saying? The job, really nice. Like, yeah, it just seemed like a good place to grow. And like I worked on some cool accounts, had some opportunities to like do a bit more, like trying again to like be intentionally vague while getting my point across. I'm solidly at like an intermediate level. This position, like what I was doing, I've basically been doing since I started working in the field. So like it can be a junior position. I was just sort of doing it at like, I guess a junior, well, I guess at an intermediate level, but like there were still things like I had to like review my work with my manager or with the lead designer on the account before, like the lead like creative director, whatever, before we go back to the client. Whereas like other designers wouldn't, and they could just like, from what I could see, it just like went back to the client. So like things like that, I guess my position could have been more junior, or like they, I don't know, like not that they didn't like trust me. I don't know. They just like needed to check my work, which I was sort of like, I get it. And there were definitely things like I worked on like some pretty large scale projects. So like there were some things that like, because the deadlines were so quick, like I missed things, which totally happens. But I guess it was like just sort of annoying that like other designers didn't seem to have to do that, and like I still caught like mistakes in their work. I don't know, whatever. maybe that's just like my ego talking, which like it totally can be. I guess like I've gotten to a point in my career because I am like at an intermediate level of like skill set and experience that like I want to be able to prove myself and to show that I can take on more challenging work and more responsibility. And like when I'm treated like a junior fresh out of school or whatever, like it humbles me, but it also like makes me feel like I'm never gonna get those more senior roles and more responsibility if I just continue like being treated like this. I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't know if it's like the same in other industries. I'm like telling the story completely out of order. I was hired for this position to support another designer who is about my age and has about the same experience, like years of experience as me, just because of the client base that they were building up and the amount of work that the agency had. It was just getting too much for one person. So I was hired to support her. So she had been working there for several years. So she started at the same position as me and then got promoted maybe, I don't know, a couple years ago or something. I was looking at her as sort of like, well, we're about the same age, have about the same years of experience. Like, I know I was hired to do this thing, but like maybe eventually I can also work my way up to that. And like from the beginning, I was talking to my manager being like, how can we set up like goal setting so that eventually like I know I'm hired to do this one thing and like I don't mind doing this thing, like I'm good at this role, but I see that I was talking to this other designer and I see that she worked her way up. She was in the same department as me, reporting to the same manager, so I was like, oh, can we sort of set up a goal, I don't know, structure thing so that I can like also maybe work my way up to do what she did, maybe in like a different sort of like area or department, but like kind of same idea, if that makes sense. Again, I'm being vague, but like I hope this is kind of transferable for like any office or like job setting. So she was like, yeah, we can set that up, like blah blah blah. I don't know, I don't want to say anything against my manager because like she is really really nice. Like she had a lot of stuff going on, like she moved over the summer and she had like other things in her life going on. I also like she was busy on her own projects, so like I feel like she just didn't have the time to mentor me in the same way that she was able to with this other coworker when I guess like maybe it was like less crazy at the agency. I don't know what it was. It just felt like I wasn't getting the same amount of like mentorship that it seemed like my other coworker had, but also like I had only been there for a year. Like I got fired just shy of my 1 year anniversary there. So like maybe it was just like there wasn't the time. I don't know. Anyway, so I like was kind of pushing like any opportunity to shadow people in the department and area that I wanted to work in, or any kind of like projects, like can I take on things that are a bit more complex so I can like gain experience, or things like that. And like it wasn't that they like pushed me away or discouraged me, like the opposite. I feel like they did try and encourage me. I did actually sit down and have coffee once with one of the lead creatives on one of the accounts that I was working on, who would like regularly review my work. If I say I wanted her job title, that sounds like I was like after her job. There are multiple people with her job title. I like want to get to a point in my career doing what she does. I asked her like, hey, do you have some time to like chat and like just kind of tell me about like, I don't know, like kind of an informational interview, I guess. So we did that one day, and it was like, I guess, I don't know, I've done a lot of informational interviews with people over the years, just like cold emailing or, reaching out on LinkedIn or whatever, or like, through connections or whatever. And like, they are helpful, but at the same time, it's like everyone gets to where they are in their career differently. Like not everyone has the same path, and like, even people who have a typical career trajectory, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll end up with the same career path. So it's like, it's helpful, but it doesn't exactly give you like a roadmap to necessarily to where you want to be. All right. I am so warm right now. I've literally got like sweat dripping down my legs because it is so fucking hot in here. Sure, you could argue it's only there a year. Maybe like after that point, maybe there could have been like more things. I am just like, I don't know, I guess getting to the point in my life where like I want to get things moving a bit more. I want to feel like I am on a trajectory to like advancement in my career. Like I'm not satisfied being complacent. I just always want to improve. And like I thought that companies like that in an employee, but it seems like at least the places where I've worked, they kind of just like people to be complacent and just kind of sit there and do the job that they were hired for. But then on their like progress reports or whatever, their like employee review things, it's like also like they want you to exceed expectations. So it's like, which one is it? Like pick one. It was frustrating. It was frustrating, especially being promised in job interviews like that there would be those opportunities. Whenever like there was some sort of opportunity, like I tried to take it where I could. But it was challenging. Like I just sort of felt like I was fighting a bit of like an uphill battle when it came to that stuff. I'm gonna just take this, here we go, this sort of corally shade from, I think this is Sugar Pill. Yeah, this is Suburbia. And I'm just going to put that like very, very lightly in my crease, like barely noticeable. Just like a teensy bit of color. I don't like to bother people also. So like I felt like I was constantly harassing people, asking for like career development stuff. And like I know people are busy. So I even like talked to my manager to set up one-on-ones, which also that was like sort of a weird thing because like we met when I started. And she was like, yeah, like, you know, we can kind of set up one-on-ones like as frequently or infrequently as you want. And I was like, yeah, you know, like we don't have to meet like every week. Like that's fine. Yeah, I was like, maybe we meet like every other week. And then I sort of like forgot to book time with her, but then she also didn't book time with me. I don't know. It was just like sort of weird. That was like kind of a bit of like a weird thing. Sort of fell off of our radar. And then like over the summer, I was like, hey, can we like book some time to do like regular one-on-ones? And she was like, yeah, sure. Like I was waiting for because we were having like an overhaul of the employee review. They were just like building a new like system for it, so it was like a bit more like streamlined or whatever. And so she was like, yeah, I was waiting until that was like up and running because it was like a way that you could like track like time one-on-ones with your manager and whatever. So she was like, yeah, I was waiting for that to be up and running, but like sure, we can meet regularly. So I was like, okay, great. And then my boss's boss also set up one-on-ones with me, which was like what reminded me to set up one-on-ones with my manager. And it was really just like a very informal check-in. Like I was like, okay, fine. Like I guess this is what you're like supposed to do, even though it's just kind of like a chat. Like I just didn't really see a point. So I like tried to make a point when I had one-on-ones to be like, you know, I just wrapped up this project and like this is what I did. Like I tried, I don't know, I looked up like all the articles online and tried to like stress like my role in the thing or like any like notable things that I did or whatever, just to be like to emphasize that like I was a valuable employee. Not that I was looking for a promotion specifically, but just kind of more of that like career development kind of stuff and like opportunities to learn more. So like I wasn't that I was looking for like a role change or anything in that moment, but I was looking for a way, like a framework to learn new skills so that eventually I could like work my way up, if that made sense. Because like I loved the company. They treat their employees so well. It was like genuinely, there were some really good perks working there. And just like the company culture just felt like they really respected their employees' time. And like even just like outside of work, like there were like a few things that like I really don't want to get into because it's not relevant to the story here. How do I be vague about this? There were just like a few things that like happened that like outside of work, I guess, that our president, it was a small agency, but like our president actually like reached out to me and a couple other people that like this thing affected to like personally be like, hey, we're here for you if you need like to take time off, or if you need like to whatever, lighten your workload, whatever it is, like we are here for you, just like let us know how we can help and support you, which was like, you don't get that at other agencies. So it was just like really, really nice to feel respected and like treated like a person. Like it felt like they genuinely cared about all of us as people and not just as like numbers on a spreadsheet or whatever. So that was like really, really special. Even just things like religious holidays or like cultural days and things like that, like they would send out like an email for, you know, the people who those days like fit, if that makes sense, like outside of like Christmas, Easter, like other religions and cultures and stuff like that. Like it was just genuinely nice. You know, they would like send greetings and stuff. It was really, really sweet. So I am gonna miss that a lot. Gonna do some NYX eye primer. I kind of want to do it on my lower lash line too, but I don't think that's gonna work. It was like really a special place to work. I'm just gonna put on some highlighter, I think, while I wait. I don't remember if I did this for this look, but anyways, I'm gonna use the Kaleido Space Age Prophecy. It's like a cool green to red shifty highlighter. I have a really hard time breaking into established friend groups because whatever, social anxiety, I just feel like no one wants me there. It's just, it's very difficult for me to do that. I forced myself to go to like pretty much all of the, they had a lot of like social events from work, just us or like our other like sister agencies. I really, really tried my best to go to all of them. Like, not that I deserve a medal or anything, but like, whatever. I just like, I made an effort to walk the walk and talk the talk. Yeah, I don't know. It was hard for me to do that because like I'm really not good at like small talk or like anything like that, but like I really, really tried. Okay, I'm gonna use Terra Moon's Red Giant all over my lids. I did all the things that like I feel like they tell you that you're supposed to do when you start working in advertising. I knew that business hadn't been good for a while. Like they were actually transparent with all of us. We had some meetings that, you know, like our clients were kind of scaling back on the work that they were gonna do with us. So like we all knew that things weren't great, and I guess we were sort of hoping that things would pick up. There were also like a few things, like a bunch of people were let go for performance reasons. We had a merger. There were things that were happening that like I was even like asking my manager, like, are our jobs okay? Like what's going on? Like we're all just kind of nervous. She and like the execs kept reassuring us like, don't worry, everything's fine. So I was like, okay. You know, work had like slowed down for me for a while. And then sort of started to pick up. Like it seemed like it was steady. Steady if like a little on the quiet side throughout August, I guess. The tail end of August, I'd say. Like it started to pick up. So I was like, okay. Maybe it was just like a quiet summer for whatever reason, and now we're starting to get into the swing of things again. Like maybe it was just like a bad quarter with some of our clients, but like, you know, things look like maybe they're getting back to normal. I wasn't like too worried at that point. I'm gonna use a gel black eyeliner. This one's from Guide Beauty, but like honestly any of them I think are fine. This is just what I have. Okay, I hate lining my waterline because it always irritates my eyes and I always get stuff in my actual eye. But I love the way it looked after. Yeah, I don't know. So like I knew things were quiet, but I sort of thought things were getting better. Which is, I don't know, maybe naive of me, but like I don't know, I was getting work, so I just figured like, okay, they're giving me projects, and they gave me like a project that seemed pretty cool in the scale and scope of it. So I was like looking forward to that. It was like briefly put on hold throughout the summer, and then I was able to pick it back up with like a couple changes. And I was like, oh, okay, this is a cool thing. This will be a portfolio piece. Like this is a fun project. And I was like literally in the middle of working on it. I don't know, I'm like trying, like, I'm at the point in my career where like big projects like that are portfolio pieces for me and for people who aren't in creative industries. Basically what that means is like, so your portfolio, your body of work is more important than your resume when it comes to applying for jobs and stuff. So basically, portfolio is your sample of work. Most jobs, especially in the agency world, they will first look at your portfolio to see kind of like what you're capable of. I'm just kind of like, I lined my lower lash line. I'm like gonna try and zoom in so you can see what I did. But basically, I lined my lower lash line and then like just under, kind of like where my eyelashes sit, like just under there. Without taking more product, just kind of like drag the product down there a little bit more to act as a base for what I'm about to do next. For me, at my point in my career, like any kind of like large scale project that I work on, especially if like I have more creative freedom on it, get to lead creatively in some aspect, just anything that shows the range of my technical skills and my creative ability, like those are pieces that I want to put in my portfolio. So this particular project, it was an area of design that I don't really get to work on all that often. It's not really something that I want to do, but it like shows a bit more range. And it also just looked nice. So I thought that could be something nice to put in my portfolio, but I didn't get to finish because I had this meeting with my boss's boss and she fired me. And I was like kind of devastated just because I planned to stay at this place for a while. So now I'm going to go into, where is it? Odin's Eye Leon, the red shade, and just go over what I did. Like, so not on the waterline that like touches my eyeball, but the area like underneath my lashes. I'm going to go over that in this red shade. Yeah, so I was like really hoping to build my career at this place. So I was like just gutted. I also just like felt like the rug was pulled out under me because I was like totally not expecting this. And I was hired to support this other designer, and it sort of seemed like we had enough work for both of us. Like the work that I was supporting on was sort of, I don't want to say like assistant work, but I guess it sort of was. Like we had very different roles. So sometimes we would be doing the same thing, and then sometimes she was doing kind of more like advanced design work. So it seemed like we kind of had like two distinct job responsibilities. So as a result, like I thought we would be safe. And I thought my position, oh, I'm getting all this in my eye. I thought my position would be safe. I have experience in print design. Because of my specialization, I know how to set files up properly for print. So, and that's really important when you're dealing with like industrial printers and stuff. Like, yes, they will fix your files, but like you want to send them as perfect as possible because they get annoyed with you if you don't have it set up properly. They might send it back to you. So anyways, I know how to set up files properly for print. I know how to check a file to make sure that it's set up properly. Technical stuff. That's what I started my career doing. So I have a pretty good foundation in that. So I was a person that they asked to like check people's work and set files up properly when they were going to like industrial printers. So I guess I was sort of surprised like with my expertise in that, because as far as I know, like most people sort of specialized in digital work, which a lot of our work there was digital, but like we had some key projects that were print. I was the one that worked on those or checked them for print. So I guess like I'm sort of surprised also that they let me go, because that's an asset, I guess, to have someone who knows how to do that stuff. So yeah, I don't know, I was just really bummed out. So I found out that they let go of 2 other people besides me. It seemed like they kind of let go of like 1 person per department, with the exception of one department. I don't know, that's like more client facing, so maybe they just like needed all those people. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like kind of shitty. I've sort of gone through like all the stages of grief a little bit. It's a huge blow to like my self-esteem and my confidence. Like I've been let go of every full-time job that I've had, with the exception of one that was actually like contract but like full-time hours, I guess, where I quit because I went on maternity leave. The first time I was let go was during COVID. The company, like literally like lockdown happened, and then about a month later I was let go because after they told everyone, I'll do another video on that, but like they told everyone that like, you know, their jobs were safe, and then a month later they like panicked and let people go. So it wasn't just me, but like it was just not what I needed. And there were also like there were a lot of like issues that my husband and I had. So like that was just like the cherry on top, like not what I needed. So that was my first full-time job. And then my next job, I was fired. Like they sort of eliminated my position because they were outsourcing a lot of my work. They were sort of shifting directions. There was like a new exec who didn't really know what she wanted, but also had a very strong idea of what she wanted. That was a bit of a mess. So there were some issues with my performance, which part of it was me, I think, but part of it was just like I was not understanding like what was expected of me, and I wasn't really getting help, and like maybe I should have asked for more help, whatever. Anyways, point is like they let me go, and like they said it wasn't performance based. It was like kind of performance based, but they were being nice about it. But also they kind of eliminated my position and outsourced it anyways. So that was the second one, and then I was doing contract work, and then I mentioned I went on mat leave, and then this job that like I was really hoping to be at for a long time, and they basically had like financial issues, so they couldn't afford to keep me, I guess. Which like in hindsight I'm like, well, maybe like weren't there things that they could have done before like firing people? But I don't know, like I didn't have access to their financials. Like as someone trying to take my career places instead of just like sitting there, like I'm actively trying to go somewhere with my career. It's just like it feels like I'm fighting an uphill battle, and like sometimes I just feel like I'm sort of sinking in quicksand because I'm like struggling and trying to like claw my way up the, I don't know, like it's not like I want to be at the top of the ladder. I just like want to feel like my career is advancing, and every time it feels like I make some progress, something happens, like I get fired, or they're just like there really isn't a whole lot of room in my job to like do more, and it feels like I just sort of like sink back down into the quicksand. So that's kind of like where I am now, and like I do have some freelance work that I'm doing. I am like actively applying for jobs and interviewing and stuff like that. Like it's not like I'm like I don't have any prospects, but I was really counting on this place to be like a place where I could, like a transformative place for me, I guess. Because not every place is interested in like mentoring you. And like maybe at the end of the day, this place wasn't interested in mentoring me. I don't know. I feel like I'm like yelling into the void, like asking for help, like career development help, and doing all the things that they tell you to do, like networking and informational interviewing and job shouting and this and that. And like it just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, and I just don't know what to do. I know that I'm a really good designer. I'm not just saying that because I have a big ego. Like objectively, I have spoken to creative directors who, like, if you're not in the industry, that's basically like in the design like pyramid structure of like, you know, junior designers at the bottom, like creative directors at the top. And then you might have like executive creative director, whatever. But like that's kind of at the top of the pyramid. That's about as high as you can go in an agency structure. So I've spoken to creative directors, art directors, like senior level designers who have reviewed my portfolio. You know, I've like just sort of asked, like not looking for a job, just being like, hey, can you sort of like help point me in the right direction. So usually they'll just ask to see your portfolio to kind of get a sense of like what kind of designer you are, where you are in your career as far as like, are you junior, intermediate, senior, like where do you fit in? And like I've been told, like I have a really good portfolio. Like I know what I'm good at and I know where I want to be. And I know that I know that my work is really, really solid. Like I have a good sense of design and whatever, all the things that they teach you in school and stuff. And it's just like, what is the missing puzzle piece here? Like, why am I sort of stuck in the same type of roles and not really given a whole lot of room to move around and grow and develop? And maybe it's just like, I'm good at one, like, I mean, I'm good at multiple things, but like, I'm good at this one thing, this one area that I sort of like specialized in. And maybe it's just like, not a lot of people want to work in this area. So I'm hired to do this thing that not a lot of people want to do. So they don't want me to do other things that I eventually want to like work my way up to, because then they won't have someone to do this job that no one wants to do. I don't know if it's that. Maybe it's also just like people are busy, so they don't have time for mentorship. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'm just getting frustrated at this point. Like, I really am. And like, I'm starting to lose patience. And like every other day, it just feels like I'm not having a mental breakdown, but I feel defeated. I just feel defeated. So I'll just sort of like every other day, I just sort of like, it just feels heavy. And I feel like that's probably relatable for a lot of people. I mean, maybe not necessarily in a career area. Like maybe it's like, I don't know, you're not finding the like type of person that you want to date. Like it could be a number of things, but I just feel defeated right now. Sometimes I just want to like burst into tears. And then sometimes I'm just like, I'm so mentally exhausted by this that I don't have any tears left to cry, because it's just like I'm beyond that point already. I've like reached the point where I'm just like, I don't care enough to cry. I don't know. I've wanted to make this video for a while, and now that I'm making it, like I don't even have the words to explain how I'm feeling. Defeated, I think, is the right word though. Yeah, and like I know it doesn't help to compare yourself to other people, but I do it anyways. Other designers that I went to school with, like in my graduating class, or other designers that I, started with, like when I first started my career, or, just other people, whatever, like around my age. It just feels like a lot of them, not all of them, but like a lot of them, like I see on LinkedIn, this person is creative director at this place, and this person is senior designer at this place. Forget the fact that like, a pay bump would be really nice. Like that aside, just the fact that like they've been working pretty much the same amount of time that I have, without the gaps in between of being fired and looking for a job. They've had that continuous experience, whether it's at the same place or not. Like they're up here in their career and I'm like still kind of in the middle over here. It's frustrating. It's hard not to feel frustrated and defeated that like I'm never going to get to that point. You can't really get to that senior point without someone sort of recognizing the potential in you. I worked at a place once where when I started, it wasn't like where I wanted to be long term, but I thought like, okay, I'll be here for a couple years and kind of learn what I can and then move on. And when I started, my boss manager was like super excited to have me there. She was also a designer, much more experience than I have, and sort of like took me under her wing, and like it was great. And she was like, Laura's my star designer. It was great. Then things kind of soured. Whatever, like this was the place where they ended up outsourcing my job. She got a new boss who, I'll just say it, wasn't very good at her job, or at least the management side of it, like managing her team. Was not good at that part. She might have been good at like the other parts of her job, but just really bad as like sort of a manager and us reporting to her. Because she kind of wanted to do everything and then didn't have time for everything, but also expected to like be informed about everything. And didn't communicate her expectations to us. So like we didn't know what she was looking for. So we're like presenting things when we could find her, because also we couldn't present to her because she was never available. Anyways, so my manager was like just incredibly stressed all the time because she didn't know what her boss wanted. And then she just took that out on the whole team, including me, and then got really, really nasty with me. She just like turned into a different person overnight. Like it went from like, Laura, you're my star designer, to like, why can't you do anything right? And it was really not fun to be treated like that. It was, honestly, it was horrible. I was trying to quit, but like trying to have a job lined up, and then they ended up firing me, and I was like, okay, well, at least I can collect severance while I look for another job. I had that mentorship for a little bit, and I ended up learning more from her when she was like abusive to me, ironically enough. I'm just going to do like mascara. I'm going to do a little bit of lash primer, even though I'm going to add false lashes over top. I know that companies don't care what your career goals are, what your life goals are. Like, I know that. At the same time, I can still be frustrated about, my career, my life goals kind of derailed. Because, like, when I was fired from my first job during COVID, like, I know there were a lot of people's, I don't know, like, plans thrown completely off the rails. Like, I had a lot of plans to travel, because this was, like, my first job. My husband and I got married, like, before COVID. And, like, we moved into a new place together. So we were sort of hoping that, like, our two incomes together, we'd save up a bit of money, we got married, honeymoon, and then, like, we could save up a bit more money and then start traveling together. Like, I had ideas to, like, go to Europe, because I hadn't been to Europe before, other than, like, our honeymoon, which was the first time I had been to Europe. And I just had, like, I wanted to go to Japan, which I still haven't been. And then I was sort of hoping, like, we could have fun and travel and do, enjoy married life for, like, a couple years. And then we could think about, like, having a baby. So I wanted to, like, get all the big travel plans out of the way before deciding to have a baby. So I got fired from my job, and then I had this other job, and then I got fired from that. And then I was just like, at this point, things were like starting to open up, like mostly open up by that point. And I was sort of like at that point, like, I'm not getting any younger, so let's just have a baby. And yes, this was a conscious decision on my part to like put aside my travel ambitions. And like I knew, like, once you have a baby, you're not really going to be traveling all that much. So we traveled a little bit while I was pregnant, but it was challenging. And like, don't get me wrong, like, I love my daughter. She is amazing, like, no regrets there. But it's just like sort of frustrating that like I had all these plans and then that changed. Just like with getting fired and like having to sort of, I guess, move up my life plans a little bit sooner than I had anticipated, if that makes sense. Other things, I was taking singing lessons before the pandemic and into the pandemic, and that was just like a huge confidence boost for me. It was just like something that I always wanted to do, and I was never confident about singing, but I always loved singing. And like I sort of realized that like I wasn't a good singer before taking lessons. So like, we're not making a career out of this. This is just kind of something nice for me, something fun to do. It's like a feel good thing, whatever, something about endorphins when you're singing. But also it's just like, it made me feel confident. And I had to quit that because I lost my job. I wasn't making money. So, which like in hindsight, I probably, like, I had some money saved up. I probably could have continued, but whatever, there was other stuff as well. So I like lost that thing, and then I never picked them back up. And then like now at this point in my life and all that, like I'd love to go back to my voice teacher. I just don't think I'd have the time to like finish work and then go there. And then also I have my daughter to take care of, like between me and my husband, like it would just be difficult. So I just don't know if that's ever going to happen, which like makes me really sad. Back to being let go from this job, I was like, I had built up a rapport with these people. They were like really generous about like time off and like personal days, I think they call them. Not just like mental health days, but just like other stuff. So like I was responsible with them, but it was just like nice to have those days, if that makes sense. And then I was thinking like, eventually we'd like to have another baby. So like it's easier when you've been working at a place for a while to like just number one go on mat leave, but even just like all the appointments before you have a baby, like your ultrasound and your other things. And then like, I don't know, hopefully I'm able to have another one. So things like, I don't know, like morning sickness. I didn't have that with my daughter when I was pregnant with her, but like, you never know. Next time around, I just had like fatigue. I was really, really tired. So like, if I was able to like work remotely most of the time and like not come in as often, like things like that like I might have been able to like not get away with, but because they like would have known me at that point, like it would have been easier to have those conversations. What else? Oh yeah, so we were in the process of possibly buying a house right before I got fired. There was a house, it was sort of like an off-market sale through agents, but just like there was a sale and it fell through, and then our agent told us about it and we were possibly able to get it for like a pretty good deal for what it was. It needed some work, but like it was somewhat reasonable and like more or less in the area that we wanted to be in. And like most importantly, it was just more space than what we currently have, because we're kind of outgrowing our space. We've outgrown our space. So just had like a lot of storage space. It was just really, really appealing. Talking to the banks, everything was like good and ready to go. We were just sort of waiting on the seller just to like get the final okay from them. So we were kind of like just waiting to hear back from them, but we were like, yes, we're here, we're ready. And then I got fired, and then we had to tell our agent like, okay, we're gonna have to like back out of this because like I don't have a job, and then that's like a huge red flag for the bank. So, I lost my job. I lost this house that we thought we were going to buy. I don't know what my employment situation is going to kind of like look like. So just as far as like potentially having another baby in a couple years, like we don't want to be in our current space, but the market is garbage, and finding family sized either apartments or like a house that's actually affordable is quite difficult. We can't really leave our city also, not just for like career opportunities, but like our families are here, and like we've really valued the support when my daughter was born. Just having our families around was like, I can't even describe how necessary that was. Postpartum is hard. You need support, and not just like physically, but like emotional support. You need your community around you. So we're not leaving the city, or at least not yet, not unless we have to. I'm 33, which isn't very old, although I started my career like in graphic design, I guess a bit later than some people, because I did my undergrad first and then decided I want to be a graphic designer. Like if I have another baby, which I'd very much like to, and I go on mat leave, I'd like to have at least one more. So that's, if I go on mat leave, that's a year that I'm not working and I'm not advancing my career. And then if I have another baby, that's another year. And not that like 40 is like, okay, now you have like, I'm not setting like arbitrary deadlines or anything like that, but like I don't want to be stuck as an intermediate designer forever. And I guess like in my 30s, I sort of expected to, even if I am an intermediate, to have a bit more autonomy in my work, to be able to do more like concept work and stuff like that, conceptual stuff. I had one project towards the end of my time at this last place doing like actual design, concepting and stuff like that, which was like very, very exciting for me because I don't get to do that very often. So I guess like I was sort of hoping that at this point in my career I would have more of those opportunities, or at least be like working towards that, instead of like, sort of feeling like I'm begging for scraps a little bit. I'm actually going to add a little bit of a wing with this. gel liner. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm getting frustrated with sort of like empty promises from places. And like my next place where I work, like hopefully full time, I don't know. I just don't want any bullshit. Like, I just want it to be a place where I can grow. And like, that's the thing also about like this place where I was fired recently. They were cool with people making mistakes. Like, their approach was like, kind of, we're all human, and like, let's use this as a learning opportunity. And I was like, oh my God, I love that approach. Because especially when I worked in corporate, but like even at one of the agencies that I worked with before, if you do mess up, you're heavily punished instead of being like, okay, let's figure out like what went wrong and how we can do better next time, which is just like not just a much more reasonable approach, but like a much more human approach. And I feel like, yes, you might have messed up, but like I feel like in the grand scheme that makes a much better employee and designer, or whatever your title is, because you actually, I mean, number one, enjoy going to work because you're not getting screamed at, but also you're motivated to do better next time. As a woman who actively is choosing to have children, like, I want kids, I love my daughter, and I love for her to have at least one sibling. Going on mat leave is something that I need to take into consideration for my career, I guess. I needed a year. I could have even taken 18 months, actually, except, not financially, but just because it took me about 18 months to feel fully like myself again. If I have another one, like, all of that is stuff that I need to take into consideration. Every time I go on maternity leave, that's time away from my career, and it's just all stuff that I need to think about and juggle. And it's big decisions, right? All right, so let's do lashes. I'm going to have to explain what I do. So I use these lashes from Ace Boutte in the style Calliope. So I trim the ends off of these lashes, as you can see at the top here, but we are going to be using those as well, kind of like stuck on the end to sort of like stack them and make it a little bit more dramatic. The older you are, I guess the more difficult it is to get pregnant, and the more potential health risks exist. So like, while I am relatively young, I guess, like, I'd like to have babies, and it's just hard when I'm trying to juggle my career aspirations and my like family aspirations, I guess. Someone was telling me when I got let go, like, family is the most important thing. Like, your job, really, like, even if they were super nice, they don't care about you. Like, you're replaceable, you're a number. Family is, hopefully always there for you. Like, that is the most important thing. So like, make that a priority, because you are not a priority to your workplace. Even if like they say you're important, like, you're not, you as a person are not their priority. Like, part of me sort of wishes that we started having kids maybe a little bit younger, but then like maybe we weren't as financially stable, and then like also we might not have had our wonderful daughter. So like, I guess things happen for a reason at the right time, blah blah blah. But yeah, I guess I'm just trying to like make the best decisions for me and my family, while also trying to be financially responsible. It's just hard to sort of like juggle all of it, because like, just when it feels like I sort of had things on track, like, we were going to get this house, we were going to have more space, and then like at work we were going to go back to our like hybrid schedule in office 2 days a week at this job, and then like I was hoping that with more FaceTime I could maybe get more responsibility, and then also just like, meet with my manager more, like have that FaceTime and maybe get more mentorship. And then like with my boss's boss, like, because I also had regular one-on-ones with her, show her like what I was working on to sort of like stress, I guess, like ironically why it's worth it to keep me around, and like show what I can offer like outside of my regular responsibilities, like show that I'm capable of doing more. So like I guess I'm just sort of disappointed that like I don't have those opportunities. Like I don't have those chances anymore to like show what I can do. I've started freelancing at a place and it's completely remote, which is like nice for the convenience, but also you don't get that FaceTime with people, so it's hard to make an impression. Okay, so yeah, I basically just stuck those like pieces of cut off lashes kind of on top of the lash strip, on top of the end, so like stack it right on the end. It's just frustrating to always have to start over. And like again, I hadn't been at this place for a year. Like I was literally just shy of a year, like literally days away from a year. So this is the NYX Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick in the shade Oh Put It On. They actually discontinued this one, which makes me really sad. They do, like, there are other brands that sell this color, but it's really, really pretty. I'm sad that they discontinued this line because it's really, really good. Like, I've jumped around quite a bit in my career, not by choice, and it sucks to have to start over again. Like, I'm kind of over it already at this point, just introducing myself and getting acquainted with everyone, and like, I mean, learning the different like accounts and the different brand guidelines and stuff, that's fine. Like that happens every time you jump on a new account. It's all of it together. It's the learning the brand guidelines, learning the kind of workflow, because each agency or each office kind of has their own workflow and their own like structure and hierarchy, whatever, just like office things. And then just like getting to know everyone and like trying to like be friendly but professional, and like how much, personal stuff do you kind of talk about, especially again with me being freelance. Like, do I even, like, this is kind of sad, but like, do I bother getting to know my coworkers if like I am kind of like a temporary worker? It's just, I'm just over like having to find a new job not on my own terms, if that makes sense. Like I left not on my own terms. I wasn't really prepared to start looking for a new job. So like on the one hand, I'm in the headspace to like, yeah, I want to just like keep going, find a new job, whatever. But on the other hand, it's like I want to make sure that this is like the right place for me. But like, I don't know, maybe there's no such thing. Maybe I'm like looking for a utopia that doesn't exist. Even though this last place was pretty close to that. I don't know, I'm just like, I'm tired of this already. I just want to like find a place where I can work, and I'll work there for like however long. Like I was really like hoping maybe naively that this last place, that I would stay there like until I retired, or until I sort of like couldn't grow any further. That's sort of my goal. Like I don't want to be hopping around from place to place. Like I want to stay, and then I just get fired like within a couple years, and it's frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. Okay, I'm gonna put this lipstick on. So I don't have a lip liner in this color, so because the wand is so thin, I just kind of start by like lining my lips. So instead of like following my Cupid's bow, I actually just follow that and make an arc to connect them, instead of like doing a more defined Cupid's bow. I was also often the new kid in school just because I moved around a little bit. So it's just like, I'm tired of being the new kid, whether it's at school or at work. Like I'm just tired. I just want to find my place and settle. And it's just like, I guess a little unfair that like, again, comparing myself, but like seeing what my peers are doing on LinkedIn, and it's like, so-and-so celebrated like 7 years at this agency or whatever. I'm like, I'd love that. I'd love to be at a place for like 7 years or whatever, like leave on my own terms, but I just don't want to keep moving around so much. It's really, really mentally and physically and emotionally exhausting. I just don't want to move around so much. I really want my next job to be like the one, the one where I will stay there for several years. But at the same time, it's like if I'm offered a job that like isn't the perfect job, then is it stupid not to take it? But then also going back to the mat leave thing, it's like, okay, if I take a job and I work there, like, say, I'm just throwing out a number, 6 months, and then I get pregnant, and then I, am able to conceal it for a few months and then tell them, so say we're like just under a year, that like, hey, I'm going to go on mat leave. I go on mat leave, and then hopefully I'm still employed by the time I come back. Like, it's just like, won't have had too much time at that place to like build a rapport with people, and then also just like build up a skills, like build my skills a bit more before coming back and getting like readjusted to things. I don't want to make bad choices for my career, and I'd obviously like to like remain employed, but then I'm not getting any younger, so like I also want to make good choices for my family and for me. It's just sort of this chicken and egg thing where it's like I want more experience, but how do I get more experience if no one is giving me experience, if that makes sense? Which is just kind of the state of the job market in general these days. Okay, so I've been filming for like over 2 hours now, and I think I'm done. Normally I'd like put on a wig or something and like do a whole look and photo shoot and whatever, and I'm just like not feeling it. It is past midnight on a Saturday night, and I think I'm done. But yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to just let it all out. Somewhat therapeutic, I guess, for me. This was nice. If you made it to the end of like what will inevitably be an incredibly long video, thank you. Thank you for listening. I hope you at least enjoyed the makeup tutorial. Love this look. This is like one of my favorite looks that I've ever done. It's like really there's not a whole lot to it, but I think it just looks so pretty. I love these lashes. They're like more delicate than I thought, so they're like falling apart in some places, and I think they actually discontinued these ones. I have to double check because I want to order like 10 more pairs of these. I think they're so pretty. I think they're like really flattering on my eye shape. And I think like just this whole look in general, I think is like very flattering on me. So I love it. It just makes me feel good about myself, which I kind of need a bit of that because, I'm not feeling too great about myself. I think I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed and I'm tired. And like, I felt like everything was sort of lining up into place. And then it feels like that was all sort of like taken away from me, if that makes sense. And so I guess I'm almost like, I don't want to say like mourning that, but like I just feel like that's missing. I'd like to do more of these. I don't know if this is like a popular thing to watch. I don't even know if like I care about making popular things because like my channel doesn't really seem to be going anywhere. But I kind of like this idea of like a lot more of a laid back, no pressure type video where I can just kind of like talk, whether it's scripted or semi-scripted or just off the cuff like it was tonight, about a topic and just do my makeup at the same time. And I sort of do the same thing on my podcast, which you can find on this channel. That one specifically, I look at trends through a beauty and fashion lens, whereas these other videos, I think I'm just going to kind of talk about like life and just do story times and just kind of make it a lot less structured. But it'll still be kind of a similar format. I don't know. I'm just going to kind of like try out different things on my channel because it's just like, whatever, who cares? And I can just like be me a bit more. I feel like that's sort of like lacking on my channel. It's just like injecting my personality a bit more into my videos. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Not really on a particularly high note. So I guess like maybe do you have any advice for me what I should do? Were you in a similar situation and kind of like how did you handle that? I don't know. Feel free to comment below, I guess. If you made it through, thank you. I would love it if you could subscribe interact. Check out my other socials if you want to see like more like makeup looks like this. I usually put on a wig and stuff, so it's like it's not just like this area, it's like it's the whole package with the outfit and everything. I would love it if you could check out my Instagram and TikTok. I've got like all my socials linked below. And check out my podcast if you want to hear kind of like same format but more talking about specific like internet trends and things. And I will see you guys next time.